Week 6 is right around the corner, and you know we have a lot to talk about and break down as Tayshia's season continues onward. Cause this past week we got not one, but 2 previews included in the episode. A season preview, which I've already done a breakdown for, and now this preview for next week. And while next week's preview is the slightly shorter of the 2, we are also going to be detailing why I made the picks that I did for who's going to be in Tayshia's Final 4, Final 2, and Final Pick. So, a lot to discuss. And yes, including that TikTok sleuthing about Tayshia's ex-husband. And I also want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who subscribed and watched the channel. Last night, we hit 100,000 subscribers, and the face reveal video will be out before next episode airs. But okay, this is the preview breakdown, so if you've been here before, you know the spiel. Sleuthing spoilers only in the comment section below, and I'll put a link to the full preview in the description.
Oh my gosh, look at you guys.
The journey continues next week on The Bachelorette.
Tayshia is looking for a grown-ass man.
Breakfast in bed with Bennett. What is this? The dream I had last night? So a group date for next week seems to be themed around teaching these guys how to be the perfect husband, or as Jared put it, a grown-ass man. And hey, looks like this episode we're starting to see why all of those Bachelor Nation alumni were showing up at La Quinta, and the answer seems to be as lame as we all should have expected. They're here to host group dates. No secret wedding, no council of bachelorettes, just group dates. Becca has also said she's going to be hosting a group date later on, and we know that Wells is going to show up at the cage match part of the date to be an announcer with Chris Harrison, as this shot is going to appear later on in the preview.
I could get used to this.
I could be the main course for breakfast.
I definitely want her for myself.
That was good.
So here we get a clearer picture on what the group date is going to be. It's the Grown Man Challenge, which is going to involve cooking Tayshia a meal, doing push-ups, and what every man does for his partner on a weekly basis, a game of reverse tug-of-war. You know, man stuff. And what kind of manly man competition would it be without a cage match? And yeah, this seems to be from the same date. Either way, it looks like Ivan is going to come out as the winner.
I enjoy every second I get with you. I'm trying to have the best love story ever. Every moment is precious, so I'm gonna fight for what I want.
And here we get a string of one-on-one segments with Brendan, Ben, and Noah. This Brendan and Noah stuff could be from the same night, possibly that group date, but this shot with Ben is most likely from the rose ceremony we never got to last episode, and are going to see this upcoming week. I've come to this conclusion mostly from comparing what Tayshia's wearing here with this shot from the longer season preview last episode.
This is battle.
Blood, sweat, tears, regret. The medics are heading over.
Alright, we need to start some sort of Bachelor preview bingo card because as the episodes are going on, we're starting to see some classic Bachelor and Bachelorette staples. Stuff we see every single year. This time it's the shot where someone says the medics are on their way, or some sort of ambulance or hospital shot. In Peter's season, it was after he cut himself with the golf cart. In Paradise, it was when Tajwan nearly fainted and asked for guacamole. In Hannah Brown's season, it was when that one guy got injured on the rugby date. This stuff happens all the time. Oh, and there's that shot of Wells filling in for the late Fred Willard, who'd commonly do this kind of co-hosting group date commentary with Chris Harrison.
And then Noah hopped the fence.
All hell is breaking loose.
He's trying to push himself onto group dates.
I think it's immature.
Once more, Noah is getting the villain edit. But to be fair, haven't any of y'all ever seen an episode of WWE wrestling before? It wouldn't be a cage match without someone hopping the fence and causing interference. But yeah, you can see how that's gonna rub some of these men the wrong way. Oh, and this kind of edit is never good for someone on the show, because if they do make it far, it means that the show has to backtrack and flip the edit partway through a season. Turn Noah from villain to husband material. It's not impossible, but highly unlikely. Not to mention we see it all the time on the show where someone is disliked by the rest of the group, and that invites drama, which in turn leads to souring their relationship with the lead.
Tayshia's a smoke show.
What woman wants to be called a smoke show?
You're a fraud. You're a phony.
Okay, I know that voice. I recognize it because I've been listening to my new audiobook, Bennett Whispers Sweet Nothings into Your Ear, while I go to sleep. Don't judge, it soothes me, okay? So that's Bennett saying what woman wants to be called a smoke show. And Chasen is the one calling her a smoke show. And I'm kinda like, is that wrong? I mean, in the context of Chasen saying it here, I think there are a lot of situations in which a woman would find it flattering to be called a smoke show. By their partner, or by someone they're interested in, for example. I guess it's all about context. Like, if some slimy creep comes up and calls you a smoke show and asks if you'd like a foot massage, and you say, "Sir, please leave me alone and let me eat my Big Mac in peace," then yeah, kinda creepy, don't want to be called a smoke show. Regardless, we're starting to see this season come to a point that pretty much every season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette gets to. Something that just seems to be inevitable. At some point, certain guys start becoming frontrunners, and the ones at the back of the pack either start drama with each other, or start fighting with the frontrunners in an attempt to pull them down. Looks like that's about to happen, especially with Ed and Chasen in this last bit of footage.
Needs to stop. I'm not taking any more, dude. I'm bringing my inner Wolverine out. It's gonna get bloody. He's not waking up tomorrow after this.
And there, the preview ends, setting us up for an episode with a lot of manly man fighting to come. Now, one thing I noticed here in this shot before we move forward is Ed holding a baby. Originally, when we saw this shot as part of Claire's season preview, I suspected it could be from some sort of taking care of a baby group date, and that still could be the case with this grown man competition. Cause look, in the background of this shot, we see Bennett in his robe from earlier, from the grown man competition date. But notice that no one else is holding a baby. So I'm wondering if somehow this is a prop specific to Ed. I took a look at Ed's Instagram page and found this photo. No, this isn't his baby, but it does have #Godfather on it. Maybe that's something Ed's trying to share with Tayshia here. How he's a godfather and he loves kids. We'll see. As for the one-on-one for the week, it's possible we could be getting to the point where there's one group date and 2 one-on-ones, but the format of the show is so messed up right now that we can't really tell how things are going to look next week. We know we're likely going to start next episode with a rose ceremony because we didn't get one the week before. So this whole Claire and Tayshia swap over thing has really messed with the structure of the show, and they'll have to do some maneuvering to get things back on track. But what I can tell from this preview is that there seems to be 2 separate groups of men showing up for the cage match. Those here, all oiled up, and those outside, like Noah. And the classroom shot and the cage match are definitely connected because here's Ben, and here's also Ben. But based on their presence here in this shot, but not in any of the other shots, the one-on-one is probably going to go to one of Zach, Riley, or Noah. And let's go even further on this, because if you look at what Noah's wearing in his chat with Tayshia here, it's the same as this shot where he's sitting down with the other men, which would indicate that Noah's chatting with Tayshia on some sort of group date, and not a rose ceremony due to the casual clothes. Check out this shot, which is from a rose ceremony. So at this point, my money is on Zach getting the one-on-one. Maybe it's this date. We also haven't seen Easy anywhere, and we know he wasn't eliminated because he got the group date rose last episode. So it could be him as well getting the one-on-one. The only reason I'm leaning more towards Zach is because he has actual footage of him on a one-on-one in the previews. As for who's a lock to get eliminated, the only one for sure I'd say is Peter. I don't see him anywhere in any of the shots. Now from this point I want to talk about 2 more things. Number 1, this TikTok that's been flying around my feed. It basically addresses that in the season preview someone says, quote, "It's only a matter of time," and if you add in the closed captioning, the man's name that appears to be saying it is Josh Burrell. Josh Burrell is Tayshia's ex-husband. A kind of crazy coincidence, if it is a coincidence. Now, personally, I think it's a stretch. First off, Tayshia's apparently told Us Weekly she hasn't spoken to her ex since becoming the lead. But of course, she could be tied up in contracts and not be able to say if she actually did. 2, the voice kind of sounds like Bennett to me. I don't know, take a listen.
It's only a matter of time before she realizes the truth.
3, this assumes they brought in her ex-husband to quarantine and he was cool with uprooting his life for a spot on a show with his ex-wife. And 4, if it even is her ex, this audio could be from anywhere. It could be from something they got back in Colton's season. It's not unusual for the production team to grab audio from any point in any of the seasons to get the narrative that they want. Contestants have said that they've heard audio captured from their time on The Bachelor used when they were contestants on Bachelor in Paradise. Maybe to make it seem like they're more in love with someone than they actually are. So, at this point, does Tayshia's ex come on the show and cause huge drama? I think I doubt it. But the sad truth is, it wouldn't be the first time the show has brought on an ex to cause major drama. So it's not entirely unfounded, even if it would be messed up to bring him on. And the last thing I want to talk about is my final 4 picks. Ivan, Ben, Brendan, and Zach. So how did I come to these 4? Consider this. Normally we start a season with around 30 men, but this time, and at this point in Tayshia's season, we're at 19, with Jason leaving the show. So the math is a lot easier this time around. We start with cutting out all the guys who are getting little to no screen time on the show or in the previews. Or if they are getting some screen time, it's just for drama. So we can safely cut Bennett, Blake, Chasen, Damar, Ed, Jay, Joe, Jordan, Kenny, Montel, and Peter. That leaves us with only 8 guys. At this point, I'm also going to say I have no confidence in Riley. With dwindling screen time and a Spencer feud going on, he has a long shot, but it's a real long shot. So cut him and we're at 7. Now, Easy could make it to the top 6, but I don't see him making it to hometowns, and his screen time is nowhere near that of the rest of the men. So cutting him makes it a top 6. So we're now at a top 6 possibility. Spencer, Noah, Ivan, Brendan, Ben, and Zach. Much easier to dwindle it down when there are only 19 guys, right? Now, Spencer and Noah could both sneak into hometowns, but with the villain edits they're getting and the drama surrounding them, it makes it far less likely when you compare those guys to any of the other 4. So I'm going to cut those 2 as well. And it's also possible that due to drama, Spencer or Noah could go home early and someone else slips into that top 6. But the 4 remain solid. Ivan, Brendan, Ben, and Zach. It's honestly where we go from here that's really hard, especially after that top 3. Now, all this while, in the past preview breakdowns and up to this point, I was ready to name Ben as my final pick, and I still think he could be. But last week, a lot of y'all were commenting saying Ben is showing up too much in the previews, and I thought about that, and I think you're right. When I broke down a past season preview, Juan Pablo's, the person who got the most screen time there was Claire, the runner-up. And I'm not talking by a little, she got the most screen time by a lot. This time around, Ben is far and away the most showcased guy in the previews. By that logic, I moved him out of my top spot. And here you might also say, well, shouldn't that make him then the runner-up, like Claire? And you could be right. But in the latest preview, it's actually both Brendan and Zach who get that kind of middle ground screen time. And with Brendan, I'm apprehensive about making him my pick because this has all come around so suddenly for him. So because of that, I just pushed him to my number 2 slot. As a result, pushing Ben to 3. Still, if you pointed at any one of these 3 guys as the winner, I couldn't tell you you're wrong. Heck, even Ivan has a shot, but I'd say it's an outside one. And this season just felt easier to get to that top 4. Probably because we've had so many extra episodes and so many extra previews to dissect, as well as a lot less men to pick from. But once it got to that 3, it could be any of Brendan, Ben, or Zach who wins that final rose. Of course, if any new info comes out, I'm gonna be all over it, but until then, we'll just have to wait and see. So that's it for this preview breakdown for week 6 and my final 4 picks. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more. The face reveal it's on its way, and expect it before next episode. So until then, Bachelor Fantake, out.
This is battle.
Blood, sweat, tears, regret.